about the pack, and I sent it to you. I received it on Saturday night, about whether or not you want to put a representative to sit on that board. It hasn't sat since 2019 when COVID began.
Sorry.
Do you feel, is that like to have more of a shared facility or what the?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
I don't think so.
and maybe we should be at the table, but I don't know. It's kind of like last minute, hey, how'd you like to come to the table? We're your third, fourth, and fifth choice.
Bring your checkbook.
That's kind of where I'm at. Unfortunately, I do. We participated in the track again outside of our mandate as a municipal government. I wasn't really as much in favor of it as some. And again, this is where I see this one going as well. But council, if they wanted to be there at the table, that's another story.
I don't think council needs to be there. I mean, if we wanted to send a staff member, like from recreation department, I'm thinking Lorraine, just to sit in, that's one thing, but I don't think we need to be there as council or as the funders.
Yeah, because really it does fall into the recreation, really a different type of recreation. Yeah.
And then she can judge too, if that's something that's worthwhile for her department.
So what are our thoughts on that? Is it, we've got two so far, so or three, I guess, actually.
Yeah, I don't think we need to sit on it either. We haven't participated in years gone by. Why would we start now other than?
I don't think you should sit on it or send anyone either.
On the same week, but I'm also kind of wondering, are they gonna be looking at funding?
Well, it's probably, that's what's being said is probably the main driver, so. So it's just not on the agenda of that?
Sure.
Okay, you betcha. And the other thing we talked detail about that doctor, we call doctor recruitment at that point or now to change that?
I think it's more appropriate to discuss at the one at the R app.
Okay. Yeah, because that's one thing I want to talk about. And then there was one spot, and I went through it on the computer where I think the date was, we had an off date. Oh, it was council timesheets, the fourth Thursday of the month. No, it said fourth on there, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. So make note of that. I didn't
Make note of that.
We did change the policy to reflect some of the changes, but
Yeah, and it's entirely possible that it just didn't get updated in this package.
I'm pretty sure it stated in there as the fourth.
Says the bookmark was not defined there.
What does that mean?
That's a carryover of Word, not actually assigning a page number. You can ignore that. My apologies.
Is there any other geek talk? Or any other agenda additions? Seeing none, call the question. Or, yeah, that would be nice to have the question first there. Okay, thank you. Motion on the table, all in favor? Carried. Introduction. Do we have to say what our names are?
Introduction is actually just a description of what the organizational meeting is on page 4.
Okay. Do you want to run through that then, Andrew, or?
Sure. So an org meeting is just a meeting we hold each year to appoint committee members, officials, and set policy. The org meeting is a requirement of the MGA, and we have to hold it within 2 weeks of the third Monday in October, which coincides with elections and election years. Some decisions, such as the appointment of the chief elected official, can only occur during the organizational meeting, whereas others can be deferred if necessary, such as appointment of members at large and policy changes.
Thank you. So then item 4 is for voting, secret ballot or show of hands. Councilor Grover?
Secret ballot.
All in favor? Clear.
Sorry, was you secret ballot for that?
Oh, he's smart now. Oh, yeah.
Drink my apple cider vinegar.
is organizational items. And that starts with page 4 of the package. The brief is ex officio. All counselors or commissioners of oaths. Which that's current right from the last election.
Right, it expires, next election, which would be 2024.
And then election.
25?
Election of brief, and I pass that to you.
Okay, I will delegate that to Andrew because he's.
All right, so for the election of brief, I call for nominations from the floor. Dave?
I nominate Larry Clark.
Dave nominates Larry. Call a second time. Any other nominations from the floor? Calling the third time. And with no other motions, I will close nominations. Mr. Clark is acclaimed. And can I get a motion to confirm that Reed Clark is? Okay, Les makes the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Would you like the meeting back, Mr. Chair? Thank you.
Okay, 5.4 election of deputy reeve. We have a schedule for deputy reeve.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that stays the same as we have our program go forward.
Thank you, Councilor Nyberg. Any questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried.
Mr. Chairman, just point of order, do we need to swear in Larry?
No,
Because he's from before.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we don't have to swear in Ernie either.
no, we swear them in when they actually.
We swear at him. That may be where it's supposed to be.
5.5 seating. Page 6 of the package. Councilor Gilbert,
I'll move seating arrangement remain the same.
any questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. 5.6 meeting date, page 7 of the package. Still the second Wednesday.
Unless you guys have any desire to change it?
I'll make that motion and it stays the same.
Any questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. Per diems, page 7 of the package, 5.7. Councilor Gender,
Make the motion to stay as is.
questions, concerns?
I'd like to discuss changing when we submit our fee sheets. Right now, I believe it's the third Thursday, but you estimate for the rest of the month. And when things change,
Then you look down,
all this goes out into the public. A meeting got canceled, we make it up on the next month, but we're kind of,
Still shows we charge. Councilor Nyberg?
I think if everybody, I mean, it's not rocket science. What you do is you just fill out up to that point of the 20th of the month, you fill it out like you would normally. And then the next month you start on the 21st and it goes forward. If you are in financial need that you need to make up that last week or 10 days of per diems, I suggest maybe you should find something else to do because this isn't a real money maker. It's pretty simple. We don't have any set dates. We could put down any date we want, go past, go forward.
doesn't have to be that far away though.
It doesn't have to be, right?
Like, does it have to be the 20th?
Yeah, can we get closer? Is it possible to get closer? Because you keep your month current that way, so everything you're showing for November would be November.
It's a pay period.
But we're gonna get squawking.
So you have to at least have 2 days before the end of the month,
Could be the 25th.
because that's the day that we pay you. And then
some of you forget to put your pay sheets in, so I have.
Why are you looking at me?
I've been noted the odd time.
You know,
Too.
and if we've got payrolls that are running all on that last week, it gets pretty, you know, like, we're going pretty hard. But if you choose the 25th and you're, you know, faithful and put them all in on the 25th, then I think we can make that work.
But if, I get what you're the squawking comes, but if that's the way that everybody does it,
Yeah.
then there is no squawking,
There's no comparing.
right? I mean, the policy is that you put it in on the 21st or the 20th. The 21st goes on the next pay period. A pay period can be from the 15th to the 15th. It can be from,
No,
it doesn't have to be by month.
it can be, but I think historically it's been,
I know, and historically, we could change that, right? If we went from the 20th to the 20th, in that 30-day period, you're still getting paid the same amount. People could, they bitch about whatever.
25 would get it too tidy then, or you?
No, to make it work, it's just like, on the 25th, you gotta get me your fee sheets, because it gets backed up a little bit, right? Because it has to be checked, and double checked, and triple checked, and sent to the bank.
So then you just make it up to the 25th.
Councilor Stevens.
Would it be easier for payroll if we submitted it at the end of the month and then pay was the following week? Instead of getting paid right at the end of the month, it would be a week later.
I think for our financial records, okay, the director of corporate services.
Watching it via YouTube.
I think, especially, you know, when we attach the year-to-date report all the time, the council packages, it's nice if it can close by month. So the 25th will work. I mean, we can
I
try
make
it.
a motion to switch it to the 25th. Then it's leave it, whatever after that you put it on the next month.
I don't necessarily know it's a motion situation. That's something that's we
Yeah,
do.
we'll just make cut off.
Just been a adjustment.
It would be, actually be a policy change, so that motion would be to amend policy, CM 1.1, so that,
I think it shows the fourth Thursday now, so it's gonna have to be amended anyhow. So-
yeah, I apologize, it seems to be the older version, but that we would amend, 5A in that policy to note the 25th of each month.
Can we cut in for a second? Counselor Gender made a motion beforehand that would need to exit the floor first.
Yeah, it'll just stay the same, okay, yes, it did.
Do you want to withdraw that motion, Dave, or pardon me, Ernie?
Yeah, I'm still inside, just leave it the way it is, because the only time it's gonna ever change or make any difference will be like in the fourth year, whether there's gonna be a final payment or whoever isn't gonna be here. And to know, Krista had mentioned last time is that in order to give her some enough time, like for working with hers, I do not want to be putting the ball under her saying, okay, now that we've, someone could be late and that can be jeopardizing her.
I think if someone's late, that's pretty easy though too, is you just pay them the base thing. And then they have to put in a longer one for the next month too. You know, it can be easy both ways, like administration's pretty good at spoon feeding, so.
I'd like to see it switch to the 25th, but.
Can we just wait until Krista comes in and whether she's got any, so we can hear her side?
Well, she loves the police, so it's not, won't be an issue.
She got frozen up.
She'll make it work.
Mr. Chairman, the only,
We're still gonna have to make a change one way or another, because what we have listed is wrong.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I'm not 100% sure I understand what's the difference between the 20th and 24th. If it's a couple of meetings, it's not a big deal. I don't think, honestly, I have been doing it for a very long time and I have not had anybody complain to me that I have had a pay sheet that came from the 20th of the previous month. So maybe I don't know.
Krista is here, there's any question, neither her, all,
Yeah, just the 25th, especially in December, falls on a Sunday, so nobody's gonna be here, so it's kind of,
Yeah, but you have it before the 25th. It gets closer to, it takes some more curves so you can keep
Right.
track.
yeah, I get that, but if you're gonna go by the 25th all the time and it falls on a weekend, nobody's gonna pick it up anyhow, for 1 year.
Great.
gender.
Krista,
We're looking at debating on whether to change the cutoff date, so I'd like to have your input on it.
I was listening and watching you guys it on the YouTube. There is concerns with doing it on the 25th, just being time-wise. I went, quickly grabbed it, looked back, and for the next year, there will be a couple of days that the 25th falls on a Saturday, and on February, where it's a short month, that would be a cutoff that we wouldn't be able to meet the deadlines. We have to have it to the bank a day before the end of the month for processing. Otherwise, you won't get paid. So if one counselor is missing their timesheet, then we can't submit on time. Now, the concern with there was a suggestion that was just pay the 2 bases. The problem would be if we pay your 2 bases, that wouldn't cover some of the benefit sides of things. So there wouldn't be a paycheck at all. So then comes the next issue. If we say, well, we'll just pay the base and we'll catch them up later on, it becomes a bit of a headache as we try to do the remittances to the receiver general, because those have to be on a timely basis as well. So preferably, I actually do like the idea. Melissa did jump into my office while you guys were discussing it, so we could kind of just look at it. And I do like the idea of cutting off earlier in the month and then having an off calendar month. There is no issue with doing it like that either.
Just a question on it though. One suggestion was, what happens if we ran right to the end of the month? Does that screw your books up, or could your books be, because in that way, everything that we've did is input and.
So where the headache with that is if you run a calendar and then we pay you the first week of the next month, the concern that I have with that is we would have to accrue all of those wages for the end of the year. That's no problem. Where the issue could potentially be is that revenue is only recognized on your T4 in the year that it's paid. So in December of 2022, if you guys ran it up to the end of the year and then we submitted it to you the first week of January, that's now January earnings. So you would have those issues because we cannot do that. That is a law by the Income Tax Act, that we cannot accrue it like that. So it's always when it's paid.
Counselor Stevens?
So you said your preference was to move the pay period. So if we went, say our pay periods were the 3rd Thursday of every month to the 3rd Thursday of every following month, that would work for you?
That works for us.
That works for you, okay. And any other comments on that? Because we're gonna have to have a motion. I know we have a motion on the table, leave the same, but I think you need to pull that because the same is showing the 4th Thursday.
Okay.
So we made changes.
Friendly amendment, Mr. Agenda,
Go for it, Mr. Nyberg.
that we change the policy to state that the pay sheet should be in on the 20th of the month.
Or the 3rd Thursday?
Second Thursday.
Or Thursday,
Third Thursday, thank you. Which typically is the 20th of the month, isn't it?
around that mark, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Gary, or Counselor Grover, were you opposed?
Yeah.
Are you in favor or opposed?
I assumed then we just left it the way it was, but anyway,
Yeah.
that's fine.
One opposed.
Carry on.
That is the way that it was, because we haven't changed it. We're operating like this for 2 years or so with,
Except now we are just going to fill our timesheets out to the 3rd Thursday
So-
rather than estimate. Because it was sort of the preference that I understood of administration to estimate your last couple meetings of the month and include them to keep the months together.
Yeah.
But I think the new policy will be
Your cutoff is that date.
cut off on the 3rd Thursday, and then any meetings after that will go on the following month. So I think just to make that clear.
5.8 policy CN 1.1 council remuneration.
That was the item, the council remuneration. So next would be the member at large remuneration.
Okay. Also, okay, policy member at large and committee members remuneration. Richard is basically the same as council, other than the fact of recreation and rural crime. Councilor Stevens?
I'll give you the motion that we accept member at large remuneration as presented.
And is their timing is the same also, or what timing do you have for them to put theirs in?
They usually put them in right after they're done their meeting, or some of them save up for a couple months, but most of them come in right. Right. As soon as-
Any other questions? Question, all in favor? Carried. — 510 signing authority, page 16 of the package.
Actually, this policy was updated this year, so there's no need to make any amendments to it, as long as there's no changes.
So we just go over it then?
You can just receive for information.
Okay, can I get a receipt for information? Councilor McKay, receipt for information, all in favor? Carried. Legislative appointments, page 19, agricultural fieldman, page 19. Councilor Stolberg?
I will move that we reappoint our current fieldman as Quentin Beaumont.
Questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. 6.2, weed inspector, soils conservation officer, and pest officer, page 19 of the package.
Mr. Chairman, you have some options here. What we did last year was that council delegated the responsibility to appoint those officers to the ag fieldman. You can also resolve to delegate that to the CAO, or you can direct administration to bring forward those weed inspectors to council at the time of appointment.
One of them to come forward. Councilor McKay?
I'll move that we direct it to the CEO. I think that's what we've had in the past.
Any questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. 6.3, director and deputy directors of emergency management, page 20 of the package.
This one would just be looking to confirm the existing appointments.
Councilor Gender?
That we appoint Clint Symes as director.
And can we get in the same motion, Kyle and Aislinn as the deputy directors?
Okay, that we also appoint Kyle Bennett and Ashlyn Rule as deputy director of emergency management. Yes.
Any questions, concerns?
Or if you could just all do a mic check.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hello? We just started. Open up to them?
Maybe they're not close.
Okay. Councilor Stevens?
Quick question. Are we appointing them as our Dems and E Dems, or is the regional, our reps for the regional? How is that?
So that's actually a very good point. This is temporary. At the time that we have a ministerial order confirming the regional authority, then it will be the regional authority's mandate and responsibility to appoint the Dems. But until then, we still each need to appoint our own Dems.
That answers it. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. The 6.4 fire guardians, page 20 of the package.
So in this case, there's ex officio guardians, which include all counselors in the CAO. And then we require an appointment of our regional chief, deputy chief, and our platoon commanders.
Counselor Grover,
Stay the same.
motion to stay the same.
Yep.
Any other questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. 6.5 municipal solicitor, page 21 of the package.
So this just becomes an official solicitor as a point of contact for legal correspondence, but doesn't actually affect our ability to engage different firms on a case-by-case basis as may be necessary. We typically use various firms depending on the action or advice. So we'd just be looking to stay the same at Brownlee LLP as our solicitor.
Counselor Gay,
I'll move that we appoint Brownlee LLP.
as a solicitor. And any questions? Concerns? All in favor? Carried. 7, legislated committees, page 21. Sorry. My agenda just went away on me.
So these are the various boards under our procedural bylaw or under other legislation that's established by legislation. So the first would be the Agricultural Service Board.
Page 22.
So first we need a motion to either, to appoint your members with a set term. Currently, we've done it as all councilors with a 1-year term.
Need a motion for where we go with that and big services. Counselor Stolberg,
I'll move that we appoint all of council to ASB for a 1-year term.
questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, we did have some talk about putting public. Is there any thought about that? If we added a public person going forward, I don't know where council feels about this, but I guess this is the time to speak about it because we don't talk about it any other time. So.
Counselor Grover,
I have no, I'm not, I'm sort of this one or not, I don't think so. We haven't sat on some boards and, then they sit there and vote on $1 million deals and they have no skin in the game. I don't know, I think I'm supposed to be representing your area. And I think every one of these fellows that I sat here with do, so I'd like to stay the same, please.
I was just thinking if we were going to add somebody, this is the time. We just don't have the conversation. I just wanted to have
I'm
it.
wondering if that shouldn't become a committee of the whole conversation though for.
And it could very well be, but what I'm saying is we've had this back room kind of conversation or behind the scenes conversation, but when do we start talking about it and actually make a decision? I would be in favor of having 2 public at large, but we don't seem to get anybody that wants to come on. But adding 2 people is a cost. It would be a budgetary item, but I'm not so sure. In the past, agriculture services has kind of waned off the council's radar maybe a little bit. So I'm just wondering if this is a way to perk it back up.
Go ahead, Counselor Stevens.
I'm not opposed to getting the public more engaged. Has anyone here had the public express interest in that? I'm open to the idea, but my fear is it'll be similar to what we try and do with town halls where you have the presentation and the feedback from the public is not stellar.
And I think we've had this discussion before and we've sent out a survey on it too, just to see who would be interested in sitting on the ASB as public at large. And there wasn't much interest at that time, unless that's changed. I think it'd be a great idea if their interest was there, but we've never noticed too much interest to this point.
I guess it could also be a survey again. I think he does that and sees what we get. But it is, I don't know for ease of, is it easier for administration when it is council too? Because would we have to have more computers and everything, or what, how would they get their packages, et cetera?
Yeah, we would have to expect them to bring their own technology like other members at large do, or alternatively print things off for them, so. Yeah, there's definitely a little extra logistics work. It's not insurmountable.
And Mr. Chairman, all I was saying is we should have the discussion versus just glossing over it.
To administration, can we put that to one of our committees as the whole for 2022-23? See how it goes.
Yeah, so the way it works in other counties is they do have some members at large, but, so we only appoint 4 counselors and then like 2 members at large, so your cost wise would work out close to the same. But you need to do a little bit of planning with it. So I think a committee of the whole meeting is a great place if you decide this is the way you want to go. Gives us enough time to get it in place, advertise it for next year, and you could appoint for a year in 23 to 24 if you wanted to try it.
Yeah, so if we can have that for one of our committees of the whole earlier, I guess. And we have a motion on the table to leave it as all counselors. Any other
I
questions?
think we already voted on it. Did we not?
Did we vote on it? Okay. Yeah.
I asked the question after the fact.
Okay, in favor then. So the next would be chairman. Chairman. For a term. Councilor Fig.
I'll nominate Dave Grover.
Any other?
Mr. Chairman, I'll nominate as it was Les Stolberg, and who's our deputy?
Oh,
Oh,
I would, yeah. I would say that we'll go with that since there's a vote on it.
Is there any other nominations? Calling for a third time, any other nominations? Okay. Guess we vote.
Do you accept?
Yeah, I do. I enjoyed this board and I thought I contributed quite a bit to it, so I'm quite willing to chair it again.
You accept, Councilor?
You accept as well? Well, I don't know, I was nominated for it, I thought we were gonna vote on it, but.
No, we have to, well, we vote on it, but if you,
Yeah, I'll take a run, I've done it before, enjoy it.
you want to go ahead? You want to vote?
Yeah, I can.
Officer.
I will be honest with you, I thought this minute thing would be harder.
Come on.
How do we get it on the iPad, the setup, what we're on the 9 points?
Which?
Vote on the iPad.
They're going there to count, see there. Hurry up then, run!
You do that then.
Delegating out.
Yes, Forrest, I would love to have coffee. Thank you.
No, wait, they, we have more to tell you.
What's up?
How do I plan out Mary's, like the, birthday meeting today? It showed up.
we could have had a vote.
Would have got an email.
Just click on it, and additional. Here. I think it was last week.
So the result of that vote was appointing Mr. Grover. So next we'll need a motion just to confirm that the appointment of Councilor Grover to chair based on the result of the vote.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
So,
all in favor?
there you
Opposed would be your, Stuhlberg and Nyberg opposed, councilors. Okay, then for, vice chair for the year. Councilor Grover,
I nominate Paul McCabe.
any other nominations for a second time? Nominations for a third time? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Is there any, Les, were you opposed or did you? Council Gilbert, did you vote there?
No, I didn't.
You're opposed?
Not an appointment.
Thought we were done with this Mickey Mouse stuff. I don't know. I think I got better things to do with my time.
Council Spielberg, there's all the other departments yet. Seven point two, Municipal Planning Commission, page 24.
So this one is established pursuant to our land use bylaw. And it's the same three motions we need for this one, with the current setup being all councilors are members.
Councilor Stevens? I'll give you that motion. Questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. I'll call for the chairman, Councilor Grover.
James Nyberg.
Any other nominations for a second time? Nominations for a third time?
I will accept.
You will accept? I was gonna ask that. Okay, you will accept, so by acclamation. And then we need a motion
A
to.
motion to confirm, yeah.
Councilor Grover?
Stolberg.
No, a motion to appoint,
Appoint Mr. Nyberg.
Grover, all in favor? You opposed?
No,
Okay, and then for vice chair,
I'll nominate Les.
okay. Will you accept? Is there any other? Calling a third time for nominations? So that, I need a motion to Councilor Nyberg to appoint Councilor Stulberg. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we've, 7.3 Assessment Review Board, page 25 of the package.
Who's on there right now?
Who's on there?
I think we, James, I think you and I are.
Yeah, we've got 4 councilors appointed currently.
I must be due for my free.
I'm thinking for the training,
Gotta be reviewed. If administration could check into that and make sure and book me in for another.
Yeah, they notify us.
Yeah.
I know.
How about you? When did
You guys don't want to stay on there?
What is it, 4 years?
We took it last term, snowstorm in Red Deer.
So who hasn't taken the course?
Councilor McKay. Have you taken it, Councilor Grover?
I haven't, I'm not sitting on the board, I'm not sitting on
It's
it.
a parkland.
We've all taken the course, it's whether our courses on the paper.
Leave it the same.
Yeah, I would say we leave it the same.
Leave it the same. You're gonna make a motion.
No, go ahead.
Motion to leave it the same.
For the members at large?
Members at large and the councilors that are set on it, and the chair and clerk and all the whole thing.
I'll go for James being the chair on that one.
I think it's time maybe you step up on some stuff.
What's that on?
Assessment review, whether
The chair.
I request to take those in separate motions, please.
I don't know if we do that.
If you're president of MPC.
No. As far as, there's no chair. The chair is appointed at the time of the board. So
We actually do need a chair to be appointed to consider items outside of an assembled panel. For example, the chair is the one who has the authority to actually formally choose what which panel members will sit.
Okay,
So we do need a designated chair.
okay. I'll be honest, never ever done anything with it, so whoever it is.
Counselor Stevens?
I got the impression that Ernie was declining his appointment as chair. Am I reading this correctly?
Unless you wanna go for.
Well,
Sure.
we're shuffling chairs around on the ship, but it doesn't change anything. We have that.
It has
Who was the chair?
Councilor Gender.
Counselor Gender, but
Have you been called to do anything?
No.
It's terrible, or we just leave it the same?
so can we do we have to do motions for each, or we can do that as a total?
Do them all blanket.
If everybody's comfortable with leaving everything the same, then we can do one mega motion to appoint as defined.
Do we need, why do we set a term for the chair? The chair is always done at an organization meeting.
Yeah, it's just a requirement of the.
Okay.
MGA to have it.
The term will be for the next organization.
So it's left, there's a motion on the table to leave it as it is, as long as our members at large are still.
And Mr. Gender has to get his training back in.
And yeah, I mean, our whole training has to be checked on. Okay, so a question on the table?
We have a motion on the.
Yeah, we have a motion.
Okay.
But does the person who's writing the motion know what we're making a motion for?
You want the counselors to stay the same, you want the chairman to stay the same, and the members at large. Did you get to the clerk?
Include clerks.
Theirs will stay the same, and
It's the same.
the set term for the chair will stay the same.
Okay, call the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay, 7.4, subdivision and development appeal board. That one is carried by Parkland or completed.
For now. We're trying to keep them alive.
So there's no,
No action necessary.
at all.
That's an information.
The Weed Control Act Appeal Board 7.5, page 26.
So these are members at large.
They're all members at large, so
Yeah.
they're renewable every year.
They are, we reached out to everybody and I don't think we had anyone come back saying we didn't want to
And
stand.
they're still vacant.
There's still one seat that's technically vacant, but we have quorum.
Counselor Stevens?
In here it says counselors too, but it has 4 of us listed.
For the Weed Control Act Appeal Board?
Oh, sorry, I skipped ahead.
Okay.
Slow down. Slow down.
So if they've accepted any motion, Counselor Gunn,
Make a motion that we say the same.
questions, concerns, all in favor?
I have a question.
Counselor McGee.
Because we do have a vacancy, we should try filling that, because we already do have 3, but
We
is
can
that
advertise
right?
it again.
We did advertise.
Yeah, last time we advertised, we did get Mr. Harry Brook, but that was the only interest. I even tried browbeating some of our other members at large on other committees, and they weren't with.
It never sits.
I just wanted to confirm that.
We're still staying.
You just name gets put on a piece of paper. It's like going in the Hansard. It's there, but it doesn't mean squat.
Sorry about the interruption.
No problem. No, 7.6, Stettler Regional Emergency Management Agency, page 27.
Did we get to vote on the last one? Because I interrupted.
Yeah, you had your.
I did, but that was to try to get a comment in.
We did.
Good, just making sure.
Counselor Stevens?
I'd like to let my previous question stand. The 2 counselors are 4.
So it was 4 in the last term and is now 2 because we're moving to that regional approach.
That's a change.
Yeah, so
I will stand down.
Who wants to be on it?
I will nominate Stevens and Clark.
Larry hasn't usually, it was Stevens and McKay that showed up at the last.
Okay, Stevens and McKay. Thank you.
Okay. You nominated Stevens and McGee?
That's exactly what I said. You heard me wrong.
That was correct, that's correct. Okay, is there any other nominations? For a second time? For a third time? That's, we just need a motion to carry the vote. Counselor Nyberg, all in favor? Carried. Advisory and external committees, page 28, Battle River Research Group, page 28.
Mr. Chairman, just for these ones, typically, by the time we get to this point in our meeting, we will not nominate from the floor and instead just make a resolution. Just to expedite things a little bit.
Say that again?
So we
So
still,
at this point, we stop, and we're already starting to get to that, where if we, instead of nominating from the floor, typically a board member makes the motion, or a counselor makes the motion to appoint, it just results to appoint.
Well, what if you have two motions?
At that point, one fails, one succeeds, so you can always go.
Then we're not voting, then we're back to not voting with hands, though. Not just sure I like that idea.
No,
It's, you continue to nominate from the floor, it's just been our practice in the past, I just want to bring attention to that.
Quit, get out of the past, man, like, come on, drop the future. All the cool kids are in the future.
our representatives, current representatives, Counselor Grover and alternate Counselor McKay.
I'll make a motion on states to say.
Any other motions?
Counselor Grover,
Oh, no, I'm already voting.
we need, I guess if we have motions, we still need to ask for 3. Any other motions? Seeing none, call the question, all in favor?
You can kick me later, Andrew.
Carried. So we have Counselor Grover, alternate Counselor McKay. Buffalo Lake Intermunicipal Development Plan Steering Committee, page 28 of the package. I will,
You guys are good with that?
I'll put forward Counselor Stevens as a representative, if he accepts it.
No, turn this part.
That's fine.
I don't think, and again, I can't, like, it doesn't make any sense to make your Reeve, who's ex officio, as the alternate. And what it does is it hamstrings you. It basically, you lose the opportunity to send 3 people. As an ex officio, he can attend any meeting, and if we don't have the ones there, he can vote. So,
I'll make an alternate, Mr. Number.
and I will respectfully decline. Thank you very much.
Good,
Mr. Gender is perfect for that job. You have a bigger stake in that game.
Can I?
Yeah.
Can
I
I?
decline to.
No, you can't.
You got it? Okay.
I make the motion, the representative will be Counselor Stevens and alternate will be Counselor Gender.
Are there any other motions?
You well deserved it.
Any, call the question, all in favor? Carried. Buffalo Lake Management Team, page 29, 8.3. Who is
Are
that?
we bringing this up? There we go.
Who are we?
Following along on multiple screens here.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that it stays the same, Counselor Stevens as a representative, Counselor Gender as our alternate.
Any other motions?
And continuity stays on.
For a third time, any other motions? All in favor? Carried. 8.4, Central Alberta Rural Municipalities Association Director Committees. It's the
Make
appointments.
the motion that it stays the same, Mr. Chairman.
Any other motions?
Can't take another motion. So
What's that?
you can't take another motion.
We have to vote on her.
Yeah.
All in favor?
No, but
Carried. Well, that conversation we had before, how we were.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Committee of the Whole, page 30.
It would just be a receipt for information, by definition, committee of the whole, it's all council.
Committee of the whole what?
Receive for information.
I'll give you the motion to receive for information.
All in favor? Carried. County and Stellar Housing Authority, page 30 of the package. Current representatives are Counselor Nyberg and Counselor Grover, with the alternate Counselor Gender. Counselor Gender,
Make a recommendation to stay the same, please.
all in favor? Carried. County of Stettler LUB and NDP steering committees, page 30 of the package. The current representatives are Nyberg, Councilors Nyberg, Grover, and Gender, with members at large Blake Chapman, Ross Shearsmith, and Rob Somerville. Councilor Stevens?
Just a question. Did we get any, feedback about our council to council meeting request?
This committee would be for when we redo the
MDP and LUB.
Oh,
We haven't done it. We haven't taken this on yet.
It's gonna be a pretty good take on, I think, though, so.
So when we do finally get going, because we've been able to move it in-house, you will be busy, so
the three of you don't want.
want to be that busy, now's the time to pass it to someone else.
It could very easily have a lot of council time involved too, I would think, talking.
Pretty big plans.
I'll make the motion. It stays the same.
Huh?
Stays the same. You're good with that?
Yeah.
You got nothing better to do, Dave.
Question, all in favor?
That's my wife. I never do anything. Yeah. The last year she's probably
You
right.
need a reason to come in to meet.
8.8, intermunicipal development plan committees, page 31. Current is area councilor, municipal planning commission chairperson, and Reeve. So what would happen in, say, James's area?
At that point, I would recommend that the deputy, the alternate come in.
The alternate. Okay.
And the same thing would if your area.
Yeah, you betcha.
I'll give you that motion as presented.
Councilor Stevens, all in favor? Carried. Intermunicipal collaborative framework committees, page 31. And the current appointments are the town, for the town, I see have 2 area councilor and Reeve. And the representatives of the village, Summer Villages, ICFs, and the Reeve.
And the difference between those is just a reflection in the villages, Summer Villages case. If they were to appoint 2 members, they would have quorum. So we only appoint 1.
Okay, Shane.
Stays the same.
I'll call the question, all in favor? Parkland Community Planning Services.
Do we need them anymore?
You actually, Mr. Grover.
I know.
They are, we need to keep them alive to keep that.
That's what I told them too.
I'm open to.
No, well, the avenue open to do some work for us, but the biggest, when we need them to keep alive is to do our review board, right? So anytime that we would have I mean, what will Paint Earth do if they don't have them? Because they have a review board set up every 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we are hopeful that the regional SDAB will survive.
Yeah.
Though that has yet to be seen what will happen.
We do have a couple of good candidates, so it may stay around.
Gender,
Stays the same, please.
you're fine with that?
Yeah.
Motion on the table, all in favor? Carried. Parkland Regional Library System and Stettler Public Library, page 32. Package. Councilor Grover?
Mr. Stevens, you want to stay on there? I know Mr. Stewart does.
I'm all right with being the alternate. I wouldn't want to be
Full-time guy.
the full-time.
Was that your motion, Councilor Grover?
Stays the same.
All in favor? Carried. Physician Recruitment and Retention Committee, page 33. I think this needs to be very much addressed with the rest of the board, or we set up another committee that's basically the town of Stellar and the county of Stellar, and to address the healthcare, because it could be conversations from a hospital being full to nursing levels to doctor levels. From a recruitment piece, I think we got to roll sleeves up and see how we deal with getting doctors to our area as we go forward. But the way it was running at the end, we talked last year about maybe stepping out of it, but I think the way it sits right now, I don't believe in, but I don't know how we address the other piece. Sandra, do you?
So if you wanted to revamp the committee or effectively leave the existing committee and develop a new committee with the town, then council could direct administration to draft terms of reference, and council could at this point give us direction on who the board members would be. And then we can action that with the town if they're willing to come to the table. If not, it would just be an internal committee.
Councilor Member, or Councilor Grover, you had your hand up too?
Yeah, I think that it's gotta go back to recruitment, like, no, I got nothing against the nurses and all that. I know you're married to one. And they do a hell of a job, but I think some of this stuff has to be AHS's problem, like.
I think it needs to be addressed with AHS. Councilor Nyberg.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think this is a bigger conversation. Personally, I don't know if you guys have told them who's sitting on this one right now.
Me and Larry.
Well, actually, I think Councilor Grover and Councilor Stevens is the alternate. There's one on it.
So at the end of the day, I think it has to go back to them that this isn't working for us. We don't feel the love anymore. This is one of those appointments where it seems to be that we cut the check and don't have much say in what goes on.
Well, we have one vote. We had 2 votes, and then they put it down that the town and county only had 1 vote.
And I think this is our opportunity to send a strong message that we're not part of this anymore. I have been in conversation with AHS on a side note. There is a couple of doctors that are thinking of moving into Stettler, but there seems to be some real, I don't know what's going on. There's some politics being played or something's going on, to the point that they're looking at building a new clinic in town. So,
and we saw that last summer when we toured one group, and I'm sure they would have come. I don't think they could have avoided. I don't know what their situation was, but with them both having to take their training from after immigrating in, they may not have been in that position right at that point. But I mean, they were very eager to come to Stettler, and it just dropped right off the.
And I have some interested parties that are willing to help set up another clinic, and we definitely need it. Talking to Dr. Mulholland, he's the head recruiter for AHS. He figures to replace the late Dr. Drummond. They are going to need 4, possibly 5 doctors with his patient load.
Dr. Lockhart retires, you're going to see very.
And then we have Dr. Lockhart on the possibility, and we have Dr. Bauer, who has closed his clinic. The 2 new doctors have closed their practice. So basically, if you don't have a doctor right now in Stettler, you don't have one. So there is a real serious need, and I don't think this has become fraught with red tape. When it first set up, we were out there trying to just find doctors and
Working together, and we were going hard, but not now.
Yeah, it's become that's my personal opinion.
I think we should take that message back and have a meeting and take the message back to them. That's the way that this council as a council wants to go.
And what's your message? You want to go back or you don't want to go back? Just to drop off of this altogether?
Drop off all together and just go and try to recruit some doctors, or if you have, like you have some that want to set up here. And if that new outfit would have just a walk-in clinic,
I think we have to have
you have a kid that needs to see a doctor. And then it's gotta go, the kid has to go set for 6-7 hours at emergency with a broken arm. I just think I wouldn't do that with my cows or a horse or anything like that. Why would I do that to a kid? That's all The only place I'm going with.
I do think we need to get a more formal approach to with the town or whatever as we move forward on this, because it's even to the point of going through the healthcare system in the last 3 weeks and seeing staffing levels at the hospital and stuff. I know but AHS has got to be held accountable on this, or local administration or whoever it is. But that's why I believe that that we just look at
Well, and
health as the umbrella, and what happens? Is it our RMA where we have more rural delivery option for nurses? Like, what do we need to do to help?
And Mr. Chairman, and it bothers me that, we're asked to be 50-50 partners. When they closed the hospital, they told the mayor, I don't think you received any information about it, which honestly, if we're 50-50 partners and we're paying for the doctors,
We should get
this is pissing me off, to be honest. I mean, if we're partners, treat us like full-fledged partners.
There was meetings that the CAO and the REEF would go with the mayor and the CAO from the town and meet with the senior staff for the region and the staff of the hospital. But that with COVID has just fell right off the rails.
That was mostly about the renovation too.
What part of it was, other parts were levels of service
But a courtesy call to you
absolutely.
is, I mean, honestly, they treat us like they're,
But that I think needs to have another meeting called by us.
Yeah, just send
To
it,
the
Jack.
hospital and to let them know that
again, I think you're trying to push your way into their door, and I don't think, if they don't want us there, I don't know if it makes much sense. That's just if you don't want us there, then you don't want our money either.
It worked good for a lot of doctors, like we brought 4 in there at one time. Two Victorias and Marvin and Tim Chapman. That was a good grab, and AHS at the time wanted us to only bring one.
Yeah, I know. I know the history.
We have been and I find it really dear to my heart to keep bringing doctors in here, but you have to have them so they stay, and the doctors that are here have to have hospital privileges.
I'll tell you what also, and again, this is a personal opinion. If I'm putting up the money for dinner, I get to decide what we order. This crap of them having I get it. They should have some say in who they get to work with, but I don't get to have a say of who I get to work with. If I went to McDonald's and got a job flipping hamburgers, I don't get to decide who's beside me.
You don't have to go that far. You don't decide who you work with in here. I don't.
I'm not gonna go down that road. Why are you looking at me again?
But it does come to that point where, like you say, you drive yourself in. Well, I guess they need to know what our expectations are too.
Mhm.
So, but as far as getting called, in my opinion, we shouldn't be getting called that our ER is closed down. That shouldn't be happening.
Right, but the courtesy should be that our ratepayers, which actually outnumber the ratepayers of the town of Stettler, should be notified as well.
Going on our website immediately that has happened.
Our ratepayers should not have to be notified by the town
No, absolutely
of
not.
what's going on.
Absolutely not.
Considering that we are an integral part of AHS's performance with looking after the ambulance. That lady there should be one of the first calls if the ER shut down, because the ambulance needs to know what's going on.
The ambulance needs to know they don't stop there.
And we are the management body for the ambulance. So we know not to take them there.
Anyways,
Yes, well,
so it would be my thought that we send a letter saying that we're not sending a representative anymore.
I understand the frustration and I don't disagree with it, but in the past, this has worked. Perhaps not recently, but in the past it worked. And part of the reason why it worked in the past was it was a lot easier for two of us jointly, the town and county, to attract positions. So do we want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, or do we want to try and salvage it? That's the fundamental question.
I guess my opinion is that it's not salvageable as its current
We
sits.
get insurance for it.
We need to kill it and start again. kind of like you need to do with AHS.
Start that conversation again. It's just, I don't, if we eliminate this committee, I don't want it to, that subject to go away. Because it's so important to everybody.
Well, like,
To our young, to our old, to everybody in between.
you were just talking about bringing two in. You know, if we have someone to meet and greet them, take them around, show them like, why is
The
it?
red tape is frustrating the shit out of me, though.
Huh?
The red tape is frustrating the shit out of
I
me.
don't know, I wouldn't call it government red tape, though, I'd call
AHS red tape.
it other political.
And local tape, local red tape. I
Oh.
guess what you call that, eh?
Yeah, but with that, if we're gonna drop this, I do want to, just to put a letter to the town or something, like, we have to keep talking about this. In a different manner, though, in a more serious manner. Because this, well, do you even have a chair for that now, do you? Was there a chair on this? Who's the chair?
Mrs. Barrows was,
Thought she stepped down when she,
oh.
Did Cheryl step down?
I thought she did when she became chair of the, Stellar, the hospital.
That hospital foundation.
When Leona left, that's what I'd heard anyhow, it wasn't.
I think though that we should, I would like to stay on, I don't really care if I get paid for this. I would like to go and have a meeting with them and tell them where we stand. Maybe take some read with me.
We get a ten.
That our frustrations are.
What is the next meeting? Are you getting any information more?
We're gonna have to ask for the next meeting, because the only information we've been getting is our half.
Yeah.
Really on it, so.
Well, was our half the
We
project.
can put it back to our partners that was the past chair and try to find out who the chair is supposed to be.
I think we should keep it for now, not just to keep it, but, you know, there's, and maybe they were, James, maybe we're gonna set up a wing in one side of the Hart Haven.
I personally think what we should do is step down from the committee and send a letter to the town explaining our reasons why we're doing it. They stopped paying the money, right? They're not putting any money into the program, so they basically have said, and I'll be honest, again, this meeting or this group has taken our money and spent it before they even told us that it was being spent.
That
On more than one occasion.
Yeah, but not the last time. At least we were starting to get some contracts that had some teeth to them, the last ones too. But that was under direction of the county, because the county is the only one that paid for it.
To have them that they have to work here for so long with to get that cash, yes.
Counselor Stevens?
If we do go that route and extend the letter, does it need to be worded that we believe this is important? We would like to discuss a committee under a different structure with a different avenue of stress that we stress? Or do we just pull the pin altogether?
I'll be honest, Mr. Chairman, my frustration's gone to the point where I'm doing an end game because I'm so tired of the red tape and the BS that's going on. And I'm doing that as a personal community member. I'm not doing that as a county individual.
I would like to have a meeting with them, tell them with two of us there at least, and tell them why we have this frustration, why it's not working, and why it has to work, and the doctors have to get on side.
And Mr. Grover, I have absolutely no problem with that. I think that's maybe the best case scenario, but I honestly, it'll be falling on deaf ears. If you get everybody, there is 7 people that are supposed to be there, 8 people. And you went to the last meeting, or who went to the last meeting?
David went to the last one.
How many people showed up?
7, 6,
You had a representative from each clinic there?
one clinic.
One clinic. The hospital site manager wasn't there because they didn't have one.
And
Who were the 2 community people?
You count our path, girl.
But I'm just going on, did you have 2 community people there?
I'm sure you would have, because they were fairly eager. They're both healthcare people, but that's part of that.
Everybody like the community wants to bring the doctors here, James, yeah, whatever. If we do kill this one, I think we should start another one and just go for it. You can bring your 2 doctors you have, try to find them a place. We bend over backwards in this soccer recruitment thing to try to bring people here for the last while. And the last two we had at the lake, I thought they'd be a pretty good fit, but then they're not.
Mr. Stevens,
Thank you.
and you after him?
I find that we should still go to them with the intent, saying, okay, the people of the last kick at County, it's either shit or get off the pot, that they either contribute or we are going to continue it on with ourselves, and you let your ratepayers know in town here that you are not going to be contributing to this, and it is very important to them.
Well, are you talking the town?
Yes.
Well, I think they've already made that very clear. They've made it very clear that they're not contributing. They haven't contributed to the last 3 doctors that we brought in.
The last two.
Last two.
And the previous one to that, they didn't contribute either.
Yes, they did.
I think just the last two.
Better double check that.
I think they did.
We double check it, but I think it's just the last two.
Last two.
Because the one that came in that forced the controversial
You
issue.
did pay that one, didn't they, for the one that came in with 3 years?
Check with the board trade, I think.
The guy that came from,
I'm pretty sure that, yes, they did pay that.
They finally came again. But just the last two.
Counselor Stevens?
My question is there a bank account? Is there funding
Yeah.
existing for this committee?
not doing from us,
It's just,
only us, not
So
them.
the town and the county both have, I can't speak for the town, but we've both budgeted in the past.
Yeah.
For recruitment, we have a reserve, which we've used for various things to do with medical services.
I just want to make sure that we're in control of that reserve. It's not in a
No,
bank.
no, no.
I think they run everything through the Board of Trade, like when they come to us to ask us for money for them to advertise their appreciation for doctors and medical staff, we just send a check. And I think it's the Board of Trade that runs that.
That is true. That's how that works.
So on the voting part of this, who votes?
Everybody at the table votes, and that's the wrong, like you look at, you've got the 2 government people that write the checks. And they're outnumbered by how many people, Counselor?
Oh, we're outnumbered.
These guys are busy.
Probably 6 to 2.
And the town has
So that's it.
the town is a
Two.
regional, no, they got 3 there,
Yeah, three.
right? Because the regional person is,
Oh,
I know, 2
member
community.
of the bar.
The Board of Trade doesn't.
Okay.
I have,
2
a pro-
community people?
I have a problem with that.
They
Where, who appoints them?
points of, they could come from the town or like there was no, there were more or villages.
Yeah.
It's not to throw, like, as I said, throw baby out with bathwater. It even those to the point when our hospital is deemed as full and our emergency rooms run off its feet. It's not because I thought that full meant full. Therefore, it was pretty empty.
Yeah.
Is that something we need to deal with AHS on also is, it should be up to AHS to do that, but I mean, they don't and they just ship people forward. Counselor Gender?
So these 2 communities, are they going to be unbiased and represent everyone within town and county?
They vote the way they see.
I won't say anybody's judgment.
Okay, so what are we doing with this?
I just made my 2 cents. Whatever you guys want to do, I don't care. I honestly, a discussion needed to be had though.
Yeah.
I would like to see it stay with it for the year, try to drive a meeting, get that point across to the members. And then if the case is to send a letter, then you send a letter and you take a letter to the meeting and say, we formally step up.
Who's sitting on it right now?
Counselor Grover and,
Counselor Stevens.
Counselor Stevens and I will be going to the meeting because it's about where we're talking right now too, so. Just because it isn't so important, but it's just really got shuffled inside. See you, Augusta.
Just a suggestion, because the town is our largest partner in this, perhaps we should send a letter to the town outlining our concerns.
Yes.
And then you
Bring them forward at the next meeting and ask for this to be placed on the agenda at the next meeting. That will spur a meeting. Plus it will also let your partner know how you're feeling.
That would work. Wouldn't it not?
And that, it doesn't,
Mr. Chairman, to move this forward, I'll make the motion that stays the same.
But we're both going to the alternate.
Hold on, that's another program right now. I make the motion that this stays the same as.
Okay, all in favor? Carried.
Mr. Chairman, if we could, I don't know, if this is an organization meeting, if we make that motion to have administration, I guess it is an open meeting, just like any other meeting.
Yeah.
Make the motion that administration send a letter outlining our concerns with the physician recruitment and retention committee.
Okay, another motion on the table, questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. Okay, quick break. Pause. Are we gonna take a recess?
Mr. Chairman, let's take
Let's take a short recess.
Claire, got a moment?
Yeah.
We'll eat them.
Okay, the next one is County of Statler Recreation Board, 8.13, page 34 of the package. Counselor Jenner?
Move that way, keep it the same, please.
Question? Yes. So we do have a new member applying. If they are accepted by the committee, will take this policy and amend it afterwards?
Yeah, the rec board is actually governed by the agreement, which is one we have being updated right now. So we need consent of a majority of both the municipalities that participate as well as the board itself to add or to make changes to the regulations at all. So we need to undertake those two steps to get White Sands able to be in there, but it won't need to come back to council beyond that.
Any other questions? All in favor?
What was the motion? To stay the same?
Say the same.
Stevens and McKay.
Who made the motion?
Counselor Jenner.
I just heard you talk.
8.14 Red Deer River Municipal Users Group, page 34 of the package. Did you move that one up? Well,
I keep
it's on
going
your
back and forth between my two screens, apologies.
So it's the municipal, better municipal register.
Counselor Jenner,
Keep it the same, please.
questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. Rural Crime Prevention Committee, page 35 of the package. Typically, it's two counselors, Counselors Current or Counselors McKay and Counselor Jenner. Counselor Jenner,
We agreed on the board that we would reduce it to one, so I would like to reduce it down to Councillor McKay, please, and Councillor Stevens as alternate, and members at large, the whole list there.
you checked with all those members also too, Mr.
Yeah, we've reached out to everyone, not everybody got back to us,
Yeah.
but it's indicated a retirement.
Okay, any questions, concerns? Counselor McKay?
We did invite the town of Stellar to sit on this as they aren't part member now. That's why only one member from the county is what was requested, and then one member from the town. So we reached out to them but haven't heard nothing back yet. So we're still informing them.
Mr. Chairman, I think that was part of the reason we set this up, is because we weren't getting the town was not participating worth a shit with us on this.
That was, I didn't understand that, but Ernie was the one that forwarded that we should have a member from the town or reach out to them anyhow. So we have sent them a letter from the last meeting, so we'll find out whether.
So we're gonna take one of our members, our council members off and put a town member on?
That's what I understand.
Who made that decision?
I just find that for two of us in order to go there, the justification for what wasn't.
But we're gonna put a town guy on? A person? Who makes that decision? Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's a decision that can be made.
Board decision, it's
That's made at this council table, not at that meeting. Like, I'm wholeheartedly against that. I think that was the reason that we set this up in the first place, was we were getting, there was all kinds of action happening within the town, which we weren't part of. Goes back to the systemic issue that we're having again and again and again, that we don't get proper service out of that, and we're starting to pay more and more money. And our ratepayers were being basically secondhand citizens, and now we're putting them back on.
Councilor Kennedy.
I do not believe that was the intent of it. Like when I just looked at this committee that there wasn't, okay, like, it was not like what Paul had mentioned, to invite, say like a town member into it. This is rural crime. So like mine, I just looked at it, in order to, we were always looking at doing financial reductions. I just looked at, there's no need of 2 county representatives being on.
But with voting membership, it, that just diluted us to the point where we could, we're still paying the bill on it.
But we're not having any member from town into it. It's just like our,
Well, it was explained as, that's what it was explained as your.
Just now, that's what it was explained to me. And
but
who made the decision?
I just pulled myself off of there and just said, okay, no, like, we do not need the other expense.
Well, so we still, if that was the case, if you don't want to be on it, we still need 2 representatives unless.
You don't want to be on there?
You don't want to be on there or what?
I can be on there, but I'm just looking at financially, so whether we reduce it to 1 representative, no one from town.
It's rural crime, and really from the cost analysis of it too, is you have to have regular enough meetings to ensure that people are still engaged with it, but on the same sense, you can adjust your meetings based on what our crime stats and everything look like too. But there's still a lot of stuff I think that could be done rurally for.
Well, that was the whole, Mr. Chairman, sorry, but that was the whole focus, is that we were having issues in rural Alberta, in rural Stettler County, that were not being addressed. And when the town would have their meetings with the RCMP, we were not invited. And I get it, that's their gig, that is their situation. They do their thing and we do our thing. This was our thing to engage our public about it.
And the WhatsApp app, like all the different apps, to try and get what we deserve from a ratepayer basis. And then I guess basically then understand what we have to supply as areas to have that same kind of coverage.
I'm just saying, okay, bring it back to the committee, or like everyone here, and say, okay, do we require 2? Or do we require what?
Well, that's kind of not how it was, that I understand. And I think if you want to invite the town of Stettler as a non-voting person to certain meetings, that's one thing. So that they're not, if they're accusing us of hiding behind the bush, but I think there's enough conversations to have with our rural crime and our CPOs, and it's up to us as the councillors to drive the agenda too.
So are we gonna start having coffee with the coffee in the town of Stettler now? Our CPOs are going into that? Like I mean, they're diluted as it is. Like this, did you send a letter from the committee to them?
No, like, I think Mr. McKay got it wrong, like,
It was not for my intent to invite anyone from the town. This is rural. That's all I was looking at, okay, we don't need 2 council members there. We don't. It's no different than battle research, anything like that. If we only require 1 person there, that's all we need.
I think to drive, it does come back from this group sitting right here.
if we want to.
Councillor Stevens?
I'm not sure if dropping down a counselor is really the right message we want to send. The sense of frustration from the public, especially rural, is that when it comes to rural crime, they feel like the response times are a joke in many instances. The resources don't go to the rural areas as much as, say, the urbans would. And I think removing a counselor is somewhat akin to saying, we don't place the same level of importance on this. Now that, say, the 601 house is closed, we don't want to devalue it, I guess, would be my stance. And I realize there is a cost to having 2 counselors, but
But you only meet when you have to.
but it's a pretty minimal cost to provide that emphasis that we still take rural crime seriously.
Theo Costi.
I might be able to set some light on here. So I think that Bruce is now coming to these meetings. the sergeant and.
Most of them, when he's available, yes, he makes an effort. Yeah.
And I do think that maybe this was a suggestion by him that perhaps the town of Stellar, might want to send a representative to these meetings. So just a liaison.
And fundamentally, if the village of Bigville, the village of Denelton, like they have a lot in common with the county as far as rural crime. If they wanted to send a rep, I'm fine with that. If you want voting rights, then we need to discuss. You want to kick into the,
It's not a big budget items typically either, like they've talked about trade fair things in the past, but still, like,
if you want to have voting rights on this committee, I think that you should have to kick into the kitty a little bit. And yeah, we have a lot in common. If they wanted to send in reps, I'm not fundamentally opposed. I just, if you're not a full participant, I'm not sure if you should have voting rights in my opinion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that Councillor McKay and Councillor Stevens are the representative for the Rural Crime Prevention Committee.
and do we have an alternate there?
Let's discuss that after. I'd like to split it into a separate motion.
Okay, any questions?
What?
Councillor Gender made a motion to just have McKay on there, you'll have to get rid of that motion first.
They were
You
sending.
can't rescind it, you just pull it back. Rescinded it as if it was already there. We didn't vote on it,
Just withdraw.
just withdraw it, yeah.
Okay,
This committee meets in the evenings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm all right.
okay. Question on the table, all in favor? Carried. The alternate?
Gender.
Mr. Chairman, I think Mr. Genders made it perfectly clear that he doesn't like the committee, so I'm thinking that we should maybe get somebody else to be on there.
I'm not saying that I dislike it, I'm just trying to make it financial. As a person.
Mr. Chairman, I would put Les Stolberg on there as the alternate.
You put a motion on the table, though. Did you
We
put
can
it?
vote on it.
I'm
Okay, motion on the table for Council Stolberg, all in favor? Great. Okay, Shirley McClellan Regional Water Commission.
Before you go on to that, can we
Yeah.
just get a motion, for the members at large of the Rural
Okay,
Crime Prevention Committee?
okay, let's, Councilor Stevens,
I'll give you that motion that we maintain the existing members at large as long as they're willing to stay on.
questions, concerns, all in favor? Carried.
So, Mr. Chairman, just to back up a little bit, so was there a letter sent or wasn't there a letter sent to the town?
I believe there was a letter being sent.
Who commissioned the letter?
The board did. And I think Marlene was gonna draft it. I believe that she was gonna draft it.
That was a vote at the board level.
But, as far as, Staff Sergeant Halliday coming, I can see him suggesting that, but on the same sense, he has a meeting, that, you're right, they do have a meeting for the town of Statler, unless he's trying to combine things as an overall community police. I don't know what his, but he's just coming as a representative of their CMP to that too, so that's only,
Mr. Chairman, if I could shed just a little bit of light, the Rural Crime Committee is, in one of the purest forms, it is exclusively a committee, a standing committee of council. So any changes to the makeup of it would indeed have to come to this board.
has to run through council.
Has to run through, yeah, and it would be an actual amendment to the procedural bylaw.
So that's changes even to invite the town, that should come back to this council.
Ideally, yeah, because you're the ones that are directing what business they should be dealing with. So if, for example, this council wanted to maintain it as rural, then it would be your prerogative to direct.
Can we confirm if the letter's been sent?
Yeah,
or
we'll follow.
And what was the content
the letter and what the wording of the letter was?
If that was just to invite them to come and listen, that's a different story, but to change the makeup, that board does not have the power or the authority to make that change.
Members at large, you did the vote on that, okay. Yeah, Shirley McClellan Regional Water Services Commission, page 35. Councilor, go ahead. Councilor McNair,
I'll move to keep it the same.
questions, concerns? All in favor? Carried. Stettler Airport Committee, page 36. Councilor Nyberg is the representative. Councilor Grover? Question, all in favor?
Mr. Chairman, I think we could have some discussion at the next, or a committee of the whole to talk about the master plan coming forward on that one.
I believe it's there already on the agenda.
Okay.
Stettler Board of Trade, page 36 of the package. That's, Councilor Nyberg, you're on that too, right?
What's that?
Stettler Board of Trade.
If anybody else wants to go on it, this is a wholly, subcommittee of the actual town of Stettler, and I'm not 100% sure. Our relationship with the town is not what it once was, that's for sure, so I'm not sure. I was invited at this a while back by the new director of the Board of Trade. I'm not so sure he passed it by the town. So I got the feeling that I was not necessarily as welcome as maybe, they say they want us there, but I'm not sure I got that.
So as a member, you feel that you don't get a vote, a true vote in?
Mr. McKay, if you know me, I'm very seldom that I don't have somebody, my persuasion powers are pretty strong, but I just don't feel that maybe there might be creating some resentment. I'm not 100% sure if this is a fruitful, we tried it and we said that we were going to try it.
What do you think we should do with it? Kibosh it or move on?
Yeah. What is administration? What's your thoughts? Have we been getting any better feedback? I've been giving you the meeting minutes, but I mean, I don't know what's.
We've, council set the direction for us to fund projects at the Board of Trade. And so Nikki basically looks after that. Other than that, we don't have much to do with it.
And do they really ever come back with projects other than like the Pheasant Festival or things like that?
I mean, we could stay with it, and if you're okay with me not necessarily going to 12 meetings per year, that might be the best on a need to go basis more than anything. So, or anybody else that wants to go, I'm not opposed to having someone else. Mr. Gender, you made me very good addition to their board.
Councilor Grover?
I was just wondering, after a couple of meetings, you could give us a lowdown on what you think. If you think you should stay there, stay there. If you don't.
Okay.
Motion's on, did we have a motion on the table to stay the same? Or is that me, Mr. Councilor Grover? There. All in favor? Carried. Stettler Community Economic Development Committee, page 37.
This is the subcommittee of the town of Stettler for specific economic development things that's been as invited. I'm not sure that we've been invited in a while, so.
Yeah, again, maybe I don't feel the love. If somebody else wanted to go, maybe they would, maybe it's me. I have a way of charming people. Again, it's an ad, but they haven't, basically, that's it. Yeah.
Councilor Jenner, keep it the same. All in favor? Yeah, carried. Stettler District Ambulance Association, page 37. Currently, Councilor Stevens and Councilor Grover with alternate Councilor Gender.
Stay the same, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a resolution to stay the same.
All in favor? Carried.
Just a note, you guys did a great job on that. Thank you very much for working hard for our Stettler ambulance.
There's a blonde woman right there.
Absolutely.
John, Larry too. Everybody kicked in to do it. We got, that 18 months is gonna go by fast.
I think it is important to point out that, yeah, we only have a couple representatives, but when push came to shove, council was united on this. Everyone was
Yeah.
behind you. It was a unified front.
Plus we've ordered 2 new ambulances. We had one on order before, now we got another one.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Well, she's on vacation in Thailand.
It takes a year to come get here.
But she's back.
There's 4 out now.
Councilor McKay?
So I'm just wondering, did the town pitch in and do their share on the ambulance through the negotiations?
Oh, yeah, they're.
I think they
were
worked pretty hard.
They were very supportive.
It's good to hear. At least there's a little love between us, so.
Yeah, board was very much on board with that.
Very good, thank you.
Our staff and everybody pushed in there and got it. That's a wonderful deal. For the people of this area, not for me and Councilor Stevens.
Okay, Stettler District Family and Community Support Services, page 37. And that's currently Councilor Stillberg and Councilor Nyberg with alternate Councilor Stevens and member at large, Councilor Blake Chapman. Councilor Gender,
Keep it the same place.
call the question, all in favor? Carried. Now would be the Stettler Health Services Foundation and Stettler Hospital Facility Committee. And that is currently one county councilor, one town councilor, Councilor Grover, and Councilor Gender's alternate.
I'll make the resolution, it stays the same, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? Carried. Stettler Intermunicipal Development Plan Joint Committee. That is 2 members from the county of Stettler, with them being, okay, Councilors Nyberg and Councilor Gender. Councilor Grover?
Stay the same.
Call question, all in favor? Carried. Stettler Regional Fire Department Advisory Committee, page 39. And
Again, Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure why the alternate would be you, as you are, that's official. It hamstrings us, so I'll make the motion that the representatives, Gender and McKay, stay on, with the alternate being Mr. Stevens. That's kosher with Mr. Stevens. He likes to jump in frozen water and help them out.
They're frozen, they're in the middle of the day though, meeting.
But he's an alternate, so on occasion.
True.
As an
Unless you'd like
alternate,
to do it, Dave. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm fine with an alternate. I wouldn't want to be the full-time.
so we have a motion on the table, all in favor? Carried. Stettler Seed Cleaning Plant number 1 limited, page 39. Package. And that Councilor Grover is currently on with Councilor McKay as alternate. Councilor Gender,
Stay the same place.
call the question, all in favor? It's carried. Stettler Town and County Museum, page 40. And we have one representative, Councilor Stevens, and Councilor Gender as alternate. Councilor Gender,
Stay the same place.
okay, call the question, all in favor? Gotta have somebody to fire pump that's out there. Stettler Waste Management Authority, page 40 of the package. And currently it's Councilor Stevens and Councilor Gender with Councilor McKay as alternate. Councilor Stevens?
Councillor McKay has expressed interest in this one, and from a scheduling point of view, fire and waste are both the same day, one morning and afternoon, so it is a lot more efficient to have the same person. So I would be willing to give up my spot for Councillor McKay.
And an alternate.
You're an awful big person.
He's fairly tall.
That's what I was saying. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Alternate is Counselor Stevens with, because if you had to attend one, you probably haven't attended the other one.
I'm reasonably familiar with that board, so yeah.
It makes sense to make it.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. The FCM annual conference, page 41, 2023, it's May 25th to 28th in Toronto. June 6th to 9th, 2024 in Calgary, and May 28th to June 1st, 2025 in Ottawa. Where were we at on that? COVID and
Councillor
Denver went to Regina, and that's all we have.
Oh, right, left it.
Yeah.
So,
We could have two each go to the next
Three,
three, and
yeah.
that would cover it. So,
or even the Calgary one if we had more attend there because of it being so local at that point.
correct.
Yeah. Names forward for Toronto, or do we, Councilor Grover?
I want to go to Ottawa.
Oh,
Then I'm done. Then I'm done.
That's not till 2025, you know.
I know what
It's
it
not
is.
this year.
Oh, you don't think I'm gonna live that long?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just making sure you knew the dates.
Councilor Grover for 2025, is there anybody got a burning desire to go to Toronto?
Mr. Chairman, I think what we should all attend Calgary because it is our home province.
I do feel that, yeah.
I think we failed in the past when it was in Edmonton. We didn't do that, and it was an opportunity to economic development to promote our area to get.
So that to me is anybody would go to Toronto. Do we need to appoint it here, or as we get closer to that?
We should pick Toronto today, and if you would like to then, figure the rest out, we can do that.
We got a-
Everybody,
Yeah,
the opportunity to go to Toronto in May.
I am very hesitant to commit. I won't know my schedule. Anyone else is available.
See, my schedule is really good, so I would go to them all. Taking just my last hurrah, I'm done after the 25th.
I've already gone to one, so.
I'm not up for Toronto. That one this year doesn't work.
And same with me, this is right. One person, yeah.
So the Toronto is out, but Ottawa may be in Calgary. Calgary works for me.
Yeah. And I'd be maybe Ottawa, but if we have Councilor Grover and Councilor Gender for Toronto. A motion for that?
No, but he's not going to Toronto.
I wanted to go to Ontario, or to Ottawa.
Okay, Ottawa.
Toronto is in Ontario, just.
Hey, my schedule's very open now. Cows are out on grass.
And I think Mr. Stolberg would like to go to either one.
Yeah.
So I think, Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion that whoever likes to attend the Toronto one can get in contact with administration and make that happen, that we should all attend the Calgary one, and that Ottawa should be on a basis of seeing who's gone where.
A lot can change in 2 years.
A lot can change in 2 years.
I want to go to Ottawa, so it doesn't matter.
None of us may be here in 2 years.
So put brackets.
Oh my God, it's a bullet now.
Councilor Grover for Ottawa.
Okay.
Said, yeah.
Absolutely.
You bet. Okay, call the question, all in favor? Carried. Destruction of ballots.
Yeah, I'll make,
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Dave made the motion to destruct the ballots.
All in favor? Carried. And then we are on adjournment at 12:17. Councilor Grover? All in favor? Carried.